Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay. Many thanks to everybody who sent me well wishes on my sub-3 marathon. I'm very pleased with that one. So on to the next thing. I think I'm probably going to target some shorter races, but I'm having a little bit of a downtime, just sort of doing steady running for a while. Now, you might have noticed I haven't done much sort of new shoe reviews recently. Well, it's basically because I haven't actually bought any new shoes. I think one of the big takeaways from my recent marathon campaign was that, well, I've got plenty of shoes and my Vaporflies are my favourite. So I spent an awful lot of time just basically training in them and actually doing what I was told by Matt and just getting on with it. So I think the era of, well, I must try every single shoe in the hope that every single shoe will bring me some benefit is kind of gone out the window. And I think back to old-fashioned hard work. So when I saw that the new Saucony Endorphin Elite is coming in at £280, I was thinking, well, quite a lot of people said to me, are you going to review it, Tim? Well, I was thinking, well, £280. I mean, I'm not going to make anywhere near that amount of money on YouTube views on this one. I might be lucky to make about 30, 40 quid. So if I don't like the shoe and the initial reviews haven't actually been great, then it's an awful lot of money to waste, isn't it? So what I thought I would do, something slightly different, I'll kind of review the reviews, as it were, and see it from the point of view of somebody who doesn't get the shoes for free or wants to splash out that much amount of money, and to see if it's really a shoe that you think I should get or you would want to get for yourself. So the first thing to do perhaps is to have a quick look at Saucony's own preview video of it and their elite athlete Parker Stinson, who seems to be their main sort of athlete driving it forward.
I'm just blown away. Yes, the Endorphin Elite came along and it's just another step forward.
To be able to say that we have a material that gives 95% of the energy back to the runner is really unheard of. If you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought it would be possible. We're sitting here talking about a race day shoe, and it's called the Elite, but at the end of the day, anyone running in this shoe is going to feel like an elite in it, and that makes them better.
I can't wait for other people to wear this shoe. I think it looks fast, it feels fast. Yeah, I'm excited to get some PBs in it.
Okay, so that was interesting. Saucony's own take on their own shoe. I think it's also interesting because they also advertise these shoes with elite athletes, and they kind of imply there that if you get this shoe called the Elite, you'll also feel elite in it, even if you aren't an elite. So to me, if I buy a race shoe, I'm principally interested in, is it going to make me any faster? Is it going to make the same speed easier? I'm actually just going to have a better time in it. And if I can use it for training, great. And if I can use it for a steady, slow plod, well, that's probably not a likely use case, but if I can, so much the better. But most importantly, is it actually going to benefit me in a race or a fast run situation? So let's see if we can examine the PB situation of Parker Stinson first of all, then have a look at a few other YouTube videos, get some of their takeaways from the shoe and see what we think. Okay, let's see if we can find any PBs recently for Parker Stinson on World Athletics. So if we scroll down to the bottom here, we can see his best performances ever, his top 10. So his best performance ever in the marathon was actually in 2019, possibly in pre-super shoes. Not quite sure what shoe he was wearing then, but obviously the Endorphin Pro 1 was released to the public sort of summer of 2020, so it's quite possible he wasn't even wearing a super shoe then. And he did 2:10:53. Most recently, when he was wearing the Endorphin Elite in the Houston Marathon, he came a very creditable fourth place for sure. 2:12:11 is a time that obviously most of us could only ever dream about, but it wasn't a PB, was it? So if the shoes are great and 95% energy return, well, he still did better 4 years ago. Does that reflect different fitness? But yeah, not the greatest endorsement on a quick summary check. And all these other PBs here on the road, I think it was the American record in the 25k, again all set 4 years ago, so it kind of does suggest maybe the form over the shoes is actually more important. Another very interesting picture I found on Parker's Instagram here is a picture of him finishing off the Houston Marathon with the Endorphin Elites on, but notice the lacing pattern here. He's only got the laces tied at the top eyelets there and at the bottom, so all the ones in the middle are just missed out. And someone understandably has asked the question there, and he says, no problem with the shoes, I do this with all my shoes. I started doing it for top of the foot pain, but now I love it because it feels like you're wearing a slipper, causes tension only in heel cup. Well, it's kind of odd though, isn't it? Because you kind of, if one of their top athletes who's endorsing the shoe can't even lace it up in the way it's designed to be, it kind of does suggest there's something not quite right about the way they designed it. Okay, let's now have a look at some other YouTube reviews and see what they make of the performance of the shoes.
I think still for all out racing, I think I'm still picking the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2.
I think it's a great shoe. I think it's a fast shoe. I think I could probably run comparable paces in these shoes, but I would just enjoy the Vaporfly more.
I think it's an excellent shoe for short races, and I think it'll be a great shoe for long races as well. Both of these shoes are, but whether I really think it's got the edge on the Vaporfly, I couldn't say that. The Vaporfly's just too good.
I'm not sure if it is ascending higher than the Nike Next Percent 2. For me, I don't know yet. I need to do some more testing with respect to getting it into an actual race.
But there is one shoe that I think you need instead of the Elite, and that is this, the Pro. If you are an everyday runner, right, personally, and I'm going to save you a bunch of time, just buy the Pro, okay? The Endorphin Pro from Saucony.
Saucony said this one's named the Elite. It's not just for elites. They want you to feel like an elite when you're wearing it. But this is the first time I'm kind of gonna break off and pump the brakes a little bit on, you know, speed shoes are for everyone. I actually feel like this one doesn't work as well for me because I'm not as fast as I should be in this shoe to get the most out of it.
It was giving me feedback every once in a while that wasn't so comfortable, but for the most part, it's a really fun shoe to run in and very, very quick and exciting.
So overall, I think that Saucony is really aiming for those faster marathoners, or maybe people that don't like softer, squishier shoes like the Endorphin Pro 3, and they really want something that's a lot faster and snappier feeling with the Endorphin Elite.
The Endorphin Elite, a little bit more comfortable, and I think it's just not quite as fast for me. It is very, very close. If you're looking at speed, and this is a 10, this is a 9.5. In terms of the Vaporfly, very, very similar shoes, and I think for me, this is very much on par on speed. It'd be really hard pressed to find what is better.
Okay, so not entirely convincing set of influencing there. I think influence is meant to make you buy things, not meant to make you not buy things, but I suppose that does work both ways. It's interesting actually when you look at the Saucony UK page. I've been monitoring this about the last week since they came out, and initially there wasn't any UK 13, and they suddenly got 4 in stock, and only 1 has been sold in about a week now. I think that's quite telling, and it wasn't sold to me. So if you got that UK 13 pair, I wonder who you are. There can't be many of us around, but it's interesting. And if you look at the 12, I think that was originally 4 as well, so they probably sold 2 of them. Seem to have got more stock of the 11.5, the 11, 10.5, 10, 9.5, 9, 8.5 sold out for some reason. UK 8, we've got 4 left, 7.5's okay, 7's okay, 6.5, 4 left, and 6 is okay. So I would argue that it's basically sitting on shelves. People just aren't buying it. They're not interested in spending that much money. But I did find some other videos that had a slightly more promising take on the Endorphin Elite. So let's have a quick look at those.
What did you think of the Elite? I'm curious. I mean, we ran the Pro 3. I told you back last year that it was a favorite. Now that I got the Holy Grail foam on my feet, it's nice. You know, I think Power Run PB really made a big step up for Saucony in the racing field, but I like the geometries of this shoe. I feel like it gets me in a really aggressive stance. I just fly. I think we got a winner here.
You know, I'm testing a little bit more efficient in that shoe, even than the 3. So it's an exciting shoe to consider.
The Endorphin Elite performed very well for me. I have 0 issues racing in this again, and now I've taken it a full 26.2. and at a good pace. I've used it for quite a bit of things now, and I've found that for me, this is a really ideal shoe for my mechanics at the half marathon and marathon distances. I found when I took it down to 5K, 10K pace, it was certainly doable, but the sharp toe spring up front was almost a little bit too much.
Okay, this one, Andy Badley from the Running Channel and the Park Run world record holder, ran in 4 different shoes on 4 different days on the same course, which is basically a 1K sort of straight course. So he started off in the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, went into the Wave Rebellion Pro, then the Puma Fast Star Nitro Elite, and finally the Saucony Endorphin Elite.
I'm so glad that over my body is in pieces. My legs are so sore, but it's shown some pretty clear results, at least as far as I'm concerned, in what I'll admit wasn't the world's most scientific test, but it did show some clear differences.
Okay, Andy's times were 2:56 in the Vaporflies, 2:55 in the Mizuno ones, 2:51 in the Pumas, and also 2:51s in the Endorphin Elite.
So those were the 2 fastest on test. They also felt the best for me as I was running. They felt quicker and they were helping me out. Which one would I choose? I don't know actually. They fit slightly different and they felt slightly different as I was describing them as I was running. So the Pumas I think would be my choice for shorter, faster efforts. Whereas if I was going a bit longer, then that real incredible energy return from the Sauconys might make them my choice.
So okay, I hope you enjoyed that little montage of different clips there and different opinions of the shoe. I think the general consensus of the shoe is it's rather expensive for what it is, and although it's sort of like is fast, is it really as fast as the Vaporfly? Most of people seem to be, when given a choice between that and the Vaporfly or the Alphafly, seem to be favouring it. Andy Badley's test there was a bit contrived because he was basically running 1k flat out on different days. So someone who's been like an elite miler, perhaps he sort of gets more used to doing those 1k reps one after another. I wouldn't read too much into that. I think it showed all those shoes were pretty good and there's not much in it. And if you don't like the Nike one, well, there's other ones available. I think one big sort of other problem for me is that I found a clip from Ben Parks where he said the shoe is like really, really wide.
Now I have quite narrow feet and this is quite a wide shoe. If you're a wide-footed runner, you're going to really like something like this. It's definitely one of the wider shoes I have used, wider super shoes that I've used. But because my feet are a little bit narrow, I'm getting a good bit of bunching up at the front of the shoe.
And I did find that with Endorphin Pro 3. If you remember, my tongues are almost touching. So he didn't really sort of call out the Endorphin Pro 3 as being a particular problem. And this one looks even worse. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to have the shoe sort of flapping around. So for £280, do I really want a shoe that's really designed for wider runners? It does sort of like look rather interesting. I'm getting a bit of FOMO now, sort of with these different people who are enjoying it. And I think my big question is, am I really fast enough? It does seem to be that it's like a slightly firmer shoe than the Endorphin Pro 3, perhaps a slightly firmer shoe than the Vaporfly, and perhaps it's also designed to get you up on your toes more, which does seem quite a lot of effort for a long run, especially like a marathon. When I think, although I sort of like to think I'm sort of land on my midfoot and I don't really touch my heels, I think at the times when I felt like I didn't have a heel, I felt like I needed one just for sort of stability reasons, or just in case, especially if you like going downhill and need a bit of heel on the back there. So yeah, it's a really expensive shoe and I don't think I've really quite yet convinced myself I need to buy one. But what do you think? Do you think I should get one? Perhaps I shall succumb to FOMO. If that number of UK 13s drops down to like 1, maybe I'll be on the button. But it doesn't look like it's going to get any cheaper than £280 anytime soon, does it? So I hope you found this interesting. More to the point, are you going to go and buy these shoes, or do you think I should buy them? Like and subscribe and see you on the next one. Bye.